Sonja Friend-Uhl is a world-class athlete who has spent her entire life competing at different running distances. Sonja was a state champion in high school and record-setting runner at the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, where she was inducted into the school's Athletic Hall of Fame. She has been a member of 6 U.S. world teams, an Olympic trials competitor in the 1500 meters, and is crushing the competition at the master's level. She is currently the reigning champion in the 1500 meters Masters Women's Indoor Mile. She balances her passion for running and athletics with her position as master trainer at Core Health and Fitness, as well as lead master trainer at Trac Fitness. But to quote Sonja herself, her most fulfilling position is as mother to her 2 beautiful daughters, Brianna and Alexa. I'm here at the Florida Atlantic University FAU Track and Field Center to talk to my friend and fitness professional colleague, Sonja Friend-Uhl, about her view on what it means to be healthy and what she does to stay healthy. There's Sonja. There she comes. Hey.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm here with Sonja, friend and colleague of mine in the professional health and fitness industry. And I guess I'll start by just telling you, Sonja, and the audience what exactly it is that I want to accomplish with living active, right? So for me, being healthy and happy encompasses a variety of pillars of health, I call them, right? Pillars of health. That is your physical health and everything that it entails, your emotional health, your intellectual health, and your social health, right? So being truly healthy and happy, you have to have all of those pillars at a level that is healthy.
Yes.
Right? If any one of them suffers because you're spending way too much time focused on any one of them, that diminishing effect on all the others will ultimately make you unhealthy and unhappy.
True.
Right? So I guess I want to pick your brain about what you think about when you think about the sort of macro view of being healthy.
Right. I mean, I think where you are in your life has a lot to do with how you interpret that as well, and what your perspective is. Because I know when I was younger, say, post-collegiate, new career, still competing and things like that. To me, health, and as a new trainer, a new fitness professional, health to me was probably defined more in line of performance ability, things like that. Like how can you best apply stimuli to the body and the right nutrition, manipulating those kind of things to where you get the most out of yourself in whatever athletic venue was your choice.
Right.
And then as I became more experienced and experienced more things as both a trainer and an athlete, and as I became a mother, and things like that, what I think my perspective started to change to more of that well-being side. That actually was the foundation for everything. Because of course, if that's not right, you're certainly not going to be able to perform as well, at least down the line. And also to how I became aware of what a great need that was in society. So one of my positions when we were living in Nashville, Bill was the head trainer of it was called FitRx, and we basically helped people with, they were morbidly obese, so they either had food addictions or they had just went through something in their life where it caused them to really struggle with their weight to the point it was debilitating. And that was a huge transformation for me from a professional side as a trainer, because I was humbled at how a human being who's struggling that much physically, and in this case it was because of their weight, what became obvious to me is we are all athletes. We're just in different stages of our athleticism. And that to, one person simply being able to get up off of the floor
Simple things.
is a crucial and also a triumphant experience if they have not been able to do that in some time because of physicality. So that's where I started to really understand what truly fitness was and what it should mean. And I tried to take more education courses on how I could bring that into my sessions and in my classes. And now at this point, as a I consider myself obviously a master's athlete. I'm over 40, over 45 actually. I'm 48 years old, and I am now appreciating how aging affects the body.
Yep.
And how that's a whole
I'm there
nother,
too.
yeah, that's a whole nother realm of not just physical performance fitness, but your wellness and how that affects your psyche. I mean,
Yeah.
there's times when, if you identify your whole life pretty much as an athlete, and the goal is to always get better, get faster, when that stops
when that-
happening, and it turns to trying to maintain or
not decline.
decelerate as slowly as possible, that becomes, okay, how do I manage that mentally?
Yep.
And where do I still find my joy and my inspiration? And so, and again, as you know, living down here in South Florida, we have a very large population of active aging adults.
Yep.
And I have been inspired by them. I mean, I have clients, one of my clients this morning was 77 years old. He's truly fit, but he values it and he works at it and he makes it a priority. And it's a great example to me that, number one, I mean, it's still, yeah, you keep going. I mean, it can continue. You can still have you can still have goals and inspirations as you age with your health.
Yep.
But also, there's certain things that you do have to prioritize over others, or you end up getting hurt or sick, or then you're out of the game. So optimizing nutrition, overall well-being, as you mentioned, not just the mental and emotional, but the social. Because I tend to be a little bit of a hermit in my downtime because what we do is very high energy. We have to give out I'm not feeding my soul if I don't, participate in more social events with friends or things like. Yes. So it's really it's been a transformation throughout my career and my life as to what I define fitness as. But I think I absolutely agree with your pillars, and I think that depending on what time of your life you're in, you'll find how to balance those because it will change.
It will change.
Yeah.
It will require some work to keep each of them at a level that is healthy.
Absolutely.
And it won't always be healthy. I mean, all the pillars won't always be at the highest level. Sometimes they will be, right? But at times they will drop one of them or two of them, and then you'll have to sort of reassess and regroup.
Yeah, and things, even where you go, your health, like the emotional, mental side. I mean, went through a period of pretty high stress related to some family things about a year ago, and it wasn't the only factor. There's some hereditary things there, but it was definitely a contributing factor in I ended up with hypothyroid. And so that had to be addressed. And there's different ways you can do that, but it was interesting to me that, as you said, one or two of those pillars, if they get off balance, they can severely affect each other or all of them. And then you've got to find that balance again. And the other thing I've learned is that, the reality of aging is it gets harder to get back to equilibrium. So you have to, and a coach said this to me once, Coach Keith from Vanderbilt. He said, listen, and he was talking more about performance than injury, but he said, I was 42 and I had just qualified for the Olympic trials again in the 1500 meters.
Yeah.
And he said, just don't get hurt.
Just don't get hurt.
He said, because at this age, if you get hurt, it's really hard to get back, and sometimes you don't get all the way back.
Yep.
And I can say that could relate to general fitness for most people, is that, as we age, it's so important to maintain your muscle mass, be as responsible and proactive as you can with your nutrition.
Yep.
Go find out where you're at. You have to be your own advocate. So get blood work done at least once a year. See where your levels are with everything, and then be proactive about how you improve them and social. Like the power of community. Is so important in your well-being. So
that's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think it really comes down, as you're saying, to self-awareness.
Yeah.
Not neglecting the things that sometimes are so obvious.
Right. Right.
Because for those of us who've been at a high level of performance, you get to a point where you start to ignore certain signs.
Yep.
And I'm not even talking about people who are high level performers. Even the average person who's been dealing with some nagging whatever for years, they're
becomes
like,
the new normal.
Yeah, they're like, that's okay. That's no,
Right.
yeah. And the next thing you know, you're dealing with a much more severe medical or
True.
issue that you could have taken care of 10 years ago.
It's true.
Right?
And I think our society now is, it's ever more than even before. We want things yesterday. I wanted to accomplish that yesterday, and it's so competitive, is it not? Like, it's so much more competitive in every venue I can think of, and so that urge is there to just push. But that's why I think things like even meditation or just taking a yoga class, things where you have to maybe have the environment around you quiet down, but your mind, you're being mindful and clearing, things like that. I just think it's more important than ever before.
I agree.
To prioritize those kind of things.
I agree. Yeah. So what is your current day-to-day fitness health process?
Well, I'm still competing. I compete in masters, track and field, and road races and things like that. I'm still with the Atlanta Track Club, so I still have a carrot, so to speak, ahead of me to keep me honest with my training and keep me going. It has gotten a little harder, family things, and you feel pulled in several different directions, career, and also, like, as I mentioned, I'm not getting faster anymore. So that's tough sometimes. But I have found that new zeal in trying to maintain. And just, you know what, especially when I volunteer here at FAU with the track team and the cross country team and as coach, and I am so joyful when I leave that practice session with them. So it's still what I love to do. So every day, it's usually early, by 6:30 a.m. or so, if not earlier, I'm out running. And sometimes it's just a average, maintenance run, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. At least twice a week, it's probably here on the track or doing hill repeats, but doing intervals, speed work. Trying to incorporate. Painful. Yeah, trying to incorporate the speed work's fun. Trying to incorporate more fast twitch things, athletic movements, especially as I age, because I found that's an area I need to accelerate more with, or I lose it faster. Central nervous system type work. And then I'm in the training room because I have this great career where I get to work out at gyms all day long. Different. It's actually quite feasible for me to get the strength training in on the course. So I'm probably strength training at least 3 times a week. If I have a great week, it might be 4. So that's a separate probably 30 minutes or so later in the day. I had made a commitment to myself during the holidays that I was going to take a yoga class a week, and I was doing really good, and then I fell off. So I fully admit I need to do more with the recuperative. So I need to do a better job of things like yoga or just taking a meditation class, once or twice a week. But for the most part, that's what I do. And I have the little tools to help recovery. I have foam rollers, and I have the massage gun and so forth. So if I need it, an Epsom salts bath always works, but I do need to prioritize recovery.
Which at a certain age, not that we're over the hill by any means.
No, but it becomes more prioritized. I have a hard time relaxing. I always have. And so I would much rather go and do 8 400s than go take a yoga class, although I see the value and I understand it cognitively. My personality is, let's go do something instead, like active,
But many people suffer from that sort of, I want to push, not understanding that it still needs that balance of recovery.
And I think it's the interpretation of the release. Like I know the release I feel after a hard workout. I feel spent, the stress is gone. I look at things differently throughout the whole rest of the day. You can get that. I mean, what I feel differently is after a yoga class or a stretching session, I'm peaceful. So it's a different kind of release, which is absolutely as valuable and necessary. I just need to prioritize it.
And value it.
Yes.
Let's talk nutrition. What do you eat?
Nutrition. Well, I've always eaten to support my athletic endeavors, with the running and the track and so forth. I understand sports nutrition very well because I had the benefit of about 16 years ago now, Dr. Jose Antonio, who's the president of the ISSN, the International Society of Sports Nutrition. He kind of took me under his wing, and so I learned a lot about nutrient timing, so taking in the appropriate amount of protein and carbohydrates immediately after your workout for better recovery results, and what to eat before to optimize performance. What's interesting is probably could be a whole nother session, but as I've come into, I would say I'm probably perimenopausal right now, so could be 5 years until menopause, could be less, could be 5 months. But I'm in that situation where I'm noticing changes even in my digestive health that are probably a little bit unique to a woman my age, right, and older. And I'm learning, I'm having to tweak. So I've had to increase. I've found that it helps to increase the enzymes that I digest, whether it's from sauerkraut or really
fermented.
Yes, any kind of fermented food. I do take a really good raw probiotic because I found I went off of it for a while and I had more digestive issues, so I went back on.
Okay.
Always been good about taking a quality multivitamin and branched chain amino acids, things like that, that would support my athletic endeavors.
Yeah.
On the general health side, being totally transparent, I eat too much sugar. So I don't care for anything fried, don't care for salt.
Sugar's your thing.
Love sugar, yeah. Cookies, cake,
Right? You're a pastry guy.
Yeah, soft and flaky, awesome.
Me too.
Yeah, and it gets harder after 45 to not be able to show that in your physique.
And performance.
Because nobody can just run it right off,
Yeah.
But my metabolism was so fired up because I was also younger. So that's a goal of, that's been a goal of mine, is to reduce the amount of sugar, simple sugars. But I think I'm pretty good about, it was drilled into me from an early age about protein, lean protein, whatever your preference may be, whatever source you want to get it from, but the importance of getting enough. So I try to get in just over a gram of protein per pound of lean body weight, which for me is probably, I need a good 100 grams a day of lean protein to support what I'm doing and to keep my muscle up mass. Yeah.
Okay, and
so
you get it in which sources?
I mean, I am a meat eater, so I love chicken. I like a lean steak maybe once a week or so. I love fish, shellfish, grilled grouper, whatever. Yeah. I love fish. I enjoy salad, so I'll do a great lunch salad with spinach and nuts and things like that.
Nice.
Pretty much have eggs every day, not gonna lie. That's what
I know.
It's a staple. Eggs, avocado,
Yeah.
and a whole grain toast. So it's pretty, what I eat throughout the week is pretty standard. I definitely fudge more on the weekends, and it's more about the snacking and the dessert thing that might throw me off.
A little bit.
And so I know when I need to get down to like a specific racing weight, that's what I cut out.
Cut out the sugar.
Yeah, my
Make
portion.
weight.
Yeah, portions. I mean, when I'm full, I stop. So it's not about.
You're not measuring per se.
Yeah, and I'll leave I'll leave things on my plate or save it for later, stuff like that. But it's just more about where those calories are coming from, and making that more adaptable. I probably could eat more greens. I do like a salad, but I've been trying to be more conscious now. I eat more. Like I just slice up a cucumber and some tomatoes, put some balsamic vinegar on it, a little bit of salt, and that's a nice snack. And I'm getting more vegetables,
There you go.
So.
I'm a carnivore too, and I'm learning more about plant-based nutrition.
Yeah.
And I would like to be more plant-based. I'm trying to be. I'm more of a sort of put it in there just because it's almost medicine-ish.
Yes.
Because I say to myself, I need it, so I got to do it. But I'm not automatically drawn to it.
Right.
But plants. Adding more plants.
Adding more plants. I agree. And it's from a cooking standpoint, I think you have to be more creative and put more thought into if you were to go only plant-based, especially, to make sure you're getting all those macronutrients and so forth.
Yeah.
But I grew up. I grew up on a farm, and we had our own cattle and things like that. So I've grown up on, at the time that was definitely more what I would consider probably safer, healthier meat because it was all pasture raised. Yeah. So I do try to be really conscious of that. I only purchase my fruit, vegetables, and meats from either Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. Not that that's the end all to be all, but I feel a little bit better about it. My selections, and I just feel better. I've tried at different points in my career to go exclusive vegetarian because I had some friends who were very passionate on the ethical side, and I love animals, and so I get it. So I did try, and I gotta say I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel my energy lacked. I probably wasn't doing it correctly with the timing and so forth. Because I didn't know enough, and I probably should have went and taken some courses maybe in how to cook properly as a vegetarian. But so it was just, and timing wise for me, it was just easy to stick. And honestly, I think it helps my muscle retention. I really do. having the red meat, and also I've been susceptible to low ferritin. So not necessarily, I've never been anemic, but through both pregnancies and also when I'm in a high training volume, my ferritin will drop. And the only thing that helps, unless I go on a really serious supplement, is eating more red meat. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where everybody has to really sort of analyze what it is their body needs and how their body responds to certain nutrients.
Yeah.
And I'm a believer, like religion and anything else, that everybody has their path.
Yes.
And there's no one path that fits all.
Correct.
You have to figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you know, go along. I just
and be mindful in your choices. You know, like, if you know a certain brand is apt to not be responsible with how they source the animals, don't buy from that brand. Right.
So let's talk about intellectual health. What are you learning? What are you studying?
I'm always kind of in learning mode, especially with what I do. I work with Core Health and Fitness, which is on the brands of StairMaster, Trac, Schwinn, and Nautilus. So we have to represent all 4 brands, which covers cardio through strength. You know, so we offer education as trainers through those venues on programming and different ways to still entertain your class, but yet make sure they get the results they came in the door for. That means I have to keep my education on point. So, I mean, right now, I would say my 2 peak interests and what I'm reading most about are, I've always kind of anchored in, I'm going to call it sports psychology, but it can branch out so much more than that, right? Like the mind-body connection. And I mean, it's the last frontier, I think, is how we kind of harness that and use that for our betterment, whether you're an athlete or just a recreational exerciser. And then the other side is really the science of, especially as I mentioned, since I'm aging and I'm an athlete, central nervous system, metabolic movement, and how that changes as we age, but how we can stave it off or even maybe improve it. So nitty gritty stuff, you know, which has never been my forte. I was kind of always big picture person when it came to fitness, but I'm delving into more of that because I just think it's fascinating. And to know that, you know, just by doing certain exercises or modalities, maybe once or twice a week, you can affect your entire stride or how your body moves overall. And it's really fascinating to me. So
the science of
the science of movement, I guess, is what it comes down to, and how the mind affects that. So those 2 things are my peaked interest right now. I have like 3 books I'm trying to read at one time. It doesn't go very well. I don't suggest it, but I do love to read. I'm constantly around, and whether it's subconsciously or consciously, I am consistently around people in the education business and who are smarter than me. And you know, I left my ego at the door when I was probably 30 with all that stuff. So I am more than happy to say, wow, you are extremely intelligent in this area. Keep talking, I want to learn more. Yeah. And one of my colleagues actually with Core, he has a podcast as well, and I'm sure you've heard Pete Holman. He's with TRX. He's out of Colorado. He actually helped invent our glute drive machine with Nautilus, which is basically simulates the bar with the plate over the hips to doing the glute bridge, but it's a machine that assists. And he has a great podcast. I learn a lot from him during the trade shows and so forth. Pete McCall, he's been fantastic. And again, like they write for ACSM ACE. In my mind, in my terminology, they're fitness geeks, but I love it because I can learn so much.
Yeah, they go into the deep dive.
And then I think that's why we work well together, because they're the detail, and I can come out and communicate it in layman's terms a little better, where everybody's like, oh, I get it.
I get it.
You know?
Sort of.
Yeah, I'm an interpreter, so but I definitely learn along the way. I mean, you never should stop learning, right?
No, you never should.
Yeah.
Yeah, my thing is all about the pillars of health that I'm trying to learn as much as I can about. And I'm not academic by any means, so it's sort of, for me, it's going back to school, which
Are you
No, I'm not academic.
But you mean like on your own? Yeah.
Me researching, me getting the information, me documenting as much as I can to hopefully help others age well.
Yes. Yeah. What have you found so far as the most intriguing pillar, or maybe even challenging pillar? Have you found one that's kind of
No one sort of stands out. The physical is so broad
right?
that I could spend my life trying to figure that out.
Right. Right.
But I think when I get into sort of the intellectual and social part of it,
Yeah.
that becomes more sort of behavioral. I'm looking at the behavior
Yes.
of individuals, in which gets you into the psychology of, as you're trying to sort of go more into sports psychology,
Yes.
because that's where you're going when you talk about people's sort of social health
Absolutely.
and intellectual health.
Yeah. Why we make the decisions we do.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm a perfect example of that. I know if I cut out more sugar, I would be leaner and therefore most likely run a couple seconds faster at
Right.
least.
But
But I choose not to
Correct.
most days.
Yep.
Why?
Why?
You know?
Exactly.
Is that an internal rebellion? Is that like, what is that? That
Yeah.
just- yeah.
And to be able to ask that question, that's step one.
Right.
And then if you decide to then answer the question, now you have the answer.
Right.
That's it. That's the
Right.
psychology of. So I think that's.
It is intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that's the big macro sort of view of what I think living active, if it differentiates itself at all, that's probably what it's going to differentiate itself by.
Right.
The sort of the behavioral component to aging well.
Right. And then phase two could maybe be interesting to see. And I do travel quite a bit internationally now with the work with CORE, is how different countries or different nationalities approach. Like if there's different cultural
Yeah, that's a thought.
viewpoints, right? To eating, food.
Yes, and that for
working
sure
out,
is-
you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the American view on health and fitness, if we want to narrow into exercise, right, is specifically American.
Yes.
You go to other countries, if you go to Ghana, for example, where I'm from, the idea of going indoors to go lift weights is preposterous.
Go outside and work.
You know what I'm saying?
Do some work. Yeah.
We got fields for you to go.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly.
You know?
And there's probably less waste, right? As
Yeah.
far as like the food, and I think that we certainly can overfeed ourselves,
Americans,
over offer, and therefore there's a lot to
Sure.
waste. I noticed that when I was in Europe. It's different.
Yeah.
It's a much different perspective.
Uh-huh.
Just from just naturally, like that's just how
Yeah,
they grow
that's
up.
just how they are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, the idea that cultural differences when it comes to health and wellness and fitness and all that, I would love to spend my life doing that.
Yeah,
Imagine
exactly. Anybody want to sponsor
Sponsor,
that
yeah,
project, please?
a travel, fitness, and health.
Yes.
In all different parts of the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be the General Legacy of.
Absolutely. I mean, even one minor difference I noted, when I love a great breakfast abroad in the hotel, because they go all out. Like everywhere I've stayed in Europe, from Portugal to Italy to Germany, the breakfasts are, I mean, they're laid out, but there's always a bountiful amount of protein present. Now, it could be plant protein, but there's whether it's hummus, smoked fish, all different kinds of healthy proteins available, and green vegetables, sliced cucumbers, right? They'll have salads, even. I've seen salads available at breakfast.
Yeah.
When I was just in the Middle East in Dubai about 10 days ago, same thing.
Yeah.
Breakfast, I mean, of course, they had more olives and things like that available, but
Yeah.
so, and the ironic thing is, my friend from the UK said to me, "Yeah, but I love a good American breakfast with waffles," and I'm like, "Oh."
Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like the, what is it, the Hampton Inn, and you get the, the basic
Yep.
fake batter waffle with
Make your waffle.
I don't know what else,
Get
what
your
is in those
syrup.
eggs really, but
Right. Yep.
but it's just interesting to see it in practice as well, and I think there's something to be learned from that. So yeah.
Yeah, I always ask the question, why does breakfast have to be sweet? Because the
I
American,
saw your post about that.
Right.
Because I like savory. I agree with you. I don't
Yeah.
mind a sweet at the end, but I like savory because it makes you feel satiated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of psychological component to it, which is when you grow up with a certain expectation of what meals are supposed to be.
The anticipation.
Yeah, you're like, God forbid I eat chicken and salad
Right.
for breakfast. Oh,
Right.
right?
Absolutely. And I would definitely say that the typical American breakfast is more focused on sweet.
Yes.
Even our sausage is maple syrup.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the psychological shift that needs to happen. And that's cultural. It's
Yeah,
cultural.
for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
me growing up in Ghana, meat was in every single meal or else it wasn't edible.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So So every meal had to have meat. And so for me to even start to think plant-based,
It's tough.
Oh, it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk. I guess finally, let's talk social.
Okay.
Are you able to get out and do some fun stuff?
It's funny you should ask me that today, Kofi, because this evening, for the first time in probably months, one of my clients actually invited me to a wine tasting event at the Boca Resort. So I'm headed off, and it's way out of my comfort zone to do this because I'm just very regimented typically. But for work trips and such, we were more social because we're entertaining customers or we're there with each other in a hotel, and so we go out to dinner together. But at home, I'm pretty boring, so I need, that is one of the areas, one of the pillars I probably need to work more on. However, again, it comes down to relaxing. If it's a relaxing environment, I'm not so good at it. I probably need to do more of that, Take my daughter to the beach more. We live a mile and a half away. What's wrong?
Right.
She's 11 years old. I'm sure she would love that. But when it comes to anything that involves activity, such as the Masters track and field community, I'm all over it. I love it, and that's what feeds my soul. Or being here with the girls at practice 3 mornings a week, that kind of social, I'm all in, and I'm well balanced. It's more when it comes time to relax. I probably need to do better. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess we all sort of follow the things that sort of feed us.
Yeah.
The thing.
Yeah.
So everybody has that thing.
Right.
Which to truly go beyond what feeds you and sort of almost challenge yourself to kind of go outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's that next level.
Yes. Yeah. I think that, I actually think I've regressed in that way. I think when I was younger, I was more outgoing in that way. For a social event, I would, we'd go out more often, my husband and I, out to dinner or out to join friends for something. I will say though, even at this point in my life, I've never regretted when I've done it. I've always gone, that was so fun. I have to do that more.
And then what do you do?
Yeah.
You go back to work fields.
Yeah, but I was so go to bed by a certain time, so I get up early because I got to run, get Alexa ready for school, whatever it might be. I think if you ask most people that knew me really well, that's what they would say too. She needs to relax more. But but I'm working on it. I've got time.
We all need to.
Yeah.
I need to do the same. I mean.
Well, your children are still young as well. Yeah. So it.
Yeah, but even then, I could be more experimental.
Yeah.
Instead of being so rigid and structured.
Yeah.
Which I think it comes from the competitor in us.
Yes. And I also feel like I have this weird inner sense of, I have to be ready just in case the ball drops. I don't know where that comes from, maybe from something in my childhood, but it's very much like, don't let yourself get caught off guard. So, if I go out and during the school week, even if it's, say, it's for a family function, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, we're going to get back late. You're going to get hard to get up in the morning. I'm not going to have stuff ready for, so the only way I really let myself do those kind of things is if I'm ultra prepared. So I've got to make sure everything's ready for the next day before I go out. Which, if that's my coping mechanism, I guess it's better than not going out. But it's definitely something where I see socially I probably should work on because it holds me back. It probably holds me back from some joy. So
yeah, I guess as long as you're still competing, your priority is to be at the level of preparation for your performance.
But I don't live in a vacuum, and I've got, I felt this sometimes. Like my oldest daughter is now a freshman at UF, but my little one, she's only 11, and my husband, and they don't compete, so I'm sure they would like to do more. But Mama kind of runs the house, so they're going to follow my lead. So I think, and I've recognized that, especially more so in the last year. It's funny how you don't realize really what you had until it was gone. And so with Brianna moving out of the house, I'm wanting so much second chances or time back to do more of those things I wish I had done even with her as a family. So, and we, she had a great upbringing. We gave her a lot, but I do know my personality, and I know I can be very intense and regimented. So I think it's something I'd like to work on for Alexa, as she grows.
True.
Yeah.
Look, we all have work to do.
Yes.
The first step is the awareness.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
And then the second is the
No
actual
matter what
action.
it is, you're right. Yep. You got to first figure out what you're dealing with
Yep.
and be able to say it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then do the things to make them better.
Right.
So yeah, that's our discussion about being healthy. And thank you, Sonja,
You're
for
welcome.
your in-depth sort of conversation and transparency and sort of sharing your insight. And yeah, I look forward to more conversations, and look for this video, this vlog on our YouTube channel, Living Active, active with a K, and hopefully more to come. All right.
Bye.